Tell me about a time when you felt that your life was like a movie. That would be my go-to conversation starter because I always felt like I could learn so much about the person based on not just their answer, but also their interpretation of the question. Did they choose the horror movie route and tell me about a scary moment? Or did they choose the rom-com route and tell me about a meet cute? In any case, I could learn about the lens through which the person tended to view their life and which stories they held dear to their heart. Naturally, I would always have to answer the same question myself, so I would always keep some stories in my arsenal, and I became hyper aware of all the movie moments as they happen in my own life. I soon adopted the personal philosophy of chasing those movie moments, and the times when my life felt exactly like a film were when I felt the happiest. It was no longer just a high school graduation. It was a momentous turning point from adolescence to the rest of my life. It was no longer just the beginning of college. It was the new environment for this protagonist to explore and overcome. It was no longer just hanging out with friends. It was the start of many wacky and memorable adventures I dramatized to my children someday. Though, the more I put my sole emphasis on chasing those movie moments, the more dissatisfied I felt in the end. The failures became much more amplified, and the disappointments became much more hurtful. If I couldn't have those movie moments, I thought my life would be too boring, too insignificant, and too worthless. And when things didn't go exactly to plan, I became hopeless that my idealistic cinematic future was no longer attainable. But ultimately, I realized this wasn't a productive way to live. One failure shouldn't be the end-all be-all of my journey, and I shouldn't try to judge all the events of my life with grandiose cinematic standards. I came to the conclusion that moments don't have to be extraordinary to be cinematic. The seemingly mundane moments of dancing in my shoebox dorm room, collapsing on the table after studying for hours on end, and letting the notes of beautiful piano playing wash all over me are all still movie moments in their own right. I also realized a movie without flaws and twists and turns would not be a very interesting story. Hell, it would barely be a story at all. There is no linear line of improvement, and there are no moments that are not contributing to life's journey in some way. I still like the idea of having and hearing about certain distinct stories about movie moments, but I always need to remember that in the end, my life's journey in itself is already a big movie moment I'm eternally grateful for.